The film begins with a boy named Kiyama Shinichiro. In the past, he survived a plane crash that killed his parents. After the crash, he discovered he had a special ability called Fortuna's Eye. This power lets him see when someone is going to die because their body becomes see-through. 20 years later, Shinichiro works in a small workshop, fixing up vehicles. Even though the workshop isn't big, he enjoys his job. He works hard to make the vehicles look good again after they've been scratched or damaged. His boss, Ando Tatsuya, always praises Shinichiro for his dedication and hard work. It's not surprising that Tatsuya, who has known Shinichiro for a long time, sees him like a son. Tatsuya even offered Shinichiro a big opportunity to manage a new workshop branch, but Shinichiro turned it down. He didn't feel confident in himself and thought others deserved it more. Later, while Shinichiro was working on a car, his co-worker named Daiki deliberately vandalized it. Daiki approached Shinichiro, showing his dislike, because Shinichiro was always Tatsuya's favorite. At that moment, Daiki pushed Shinichiro, causing him to fall and break his phone screen. Even though he was treated badly, Shinichiro didn't fight back because he didn't want to make things worse. After finishing work, Shinichiro had to get his cracked phone screen fixed at the cell phone shop. There he met one of his employees named Kiryu Aoi. When Aoi saw Shinichiro's old flip phone, she explained that she couldn't repair it because they didn't make parts for it anymore. But instead of pushing him to buy a new smartphone like most shop employees would, she carefully put a screen protector on Shinichiro's phone. Aoi did this because she respected Shinichiro's choice to stick with his old phone instead of upgrading to the latest model like everyone else. Shinichiro told Aoi that he had trouble picking a new phone that suited him. Hearing this, Aoi understood, saying that everyone has the right to choose what's best for them. Shinichiro felt grateful for Aoi's understanding and kindness. After Aoi finished putting the screen protector on his phone, Shinichiro asked about the cost of the service. But surprisingly, Aoi told him he didn't have to pay as long as he kept it a secret that she helped him. Shinichiro was really thankful for Aoi's kindness. He couldn't stop thinking about her even after he got home. The next morning, while Shinichiro was on the train to work, he saw a man whose body seemed see-through, like he was about to die. He tried to convince himself it was just his imagination and ignored it. But that night, while walking home, he saw another person in the same condition. This time, he decided to follow the person, hoping he could somehow prevent their death. Unfortunately, when they reached a crossing, the person, who seemed drunk, tried to cross and got hit by a passing car. Shinichiro was shocked to witness the accident and started to wonder if his ability to see people's impending deaths could actually change their fate. A few days later, Shinichiro went back to the cell phone shop where Aoi worked because his phone screen was getting worse. When he saw Aoi again, he was surprised to notice her hands becoming see-through. He couldn't believe it at first and tried to leave, but then he remembered the person who died in the car accident. So he decided he had to save Aoi from the same fate. To keep an eye on Aoi, Shinichiro invited her to meet after work under the pretense of discussing a problem he was having. At the cafe, when Aoi arrived, Shinichiro felt relieved because her arm had returned to normal, showing that she might not be doomed to die. Overjoyed, he accidentally held Aoi's hand, and they both felt embarrassed. Shortly after, Aoi became curious about what Shinichiro wanted to discuss. He revealed that he could see signs indicating when someone was going to die, and he had recently saved someone from that fate. Upon hearing that, Aoi wondered if she was the person he had saved, but Shinichiro didn't give a direct answer. He left Aoi at the cafe and headed home. On his way, Shinichiro felt a sudden pain in his chest, realizing that by changing Aoi's fate, he might have altered his own. Despite this, the next day he felt braver. He met with Tatsuya and accepted his offer to become manager at the new workshop. That evening while working, he was surprised by Aoi's sudden visit. Aoi apologized for finding out where Shinichiro worked by looking at his customer card from the cell phone shop. She then showed him a newspaper article about a factory explosion that occurred at the time she usually passed by on her way home from work. If Shinichiro hadn't invited her to meet the day before, she might have been one of the victims. Grateful for his help, Aoi thanked him for using his abilities to save her. Shinichiro felt happy knowing his abilities could help others. One day, Daiki got Tatsuya really mad by taking a customer's car for a joyride, which led to Tatsuya firing Daiki from the workshop. Shinichiro, who witnessed this, got worried when he saw Tatsuya's hand turn see-through. Then he decided to stick with Tatsuya and accompany him home. But on their way, Daiki suddenly attacked Tatsuya. Thankfully, Shinichiro was there and shielded his boss. even though he got hit by Daiki's stick. Shinichiro fell and passed out, feeling chest pain again because he prevented Tatsuya from facing death. When Shinichiro woke up, he was in the hospital being treated by a doctor named Kurokawa Takio, who also had the ability of Fortuna's Eye. Takio, knowing that Shinichiro had a similar ability, reminded him that saving someone from death meant risking their own life. That evening, after Shinichiro got out of the hospital, he asked Aoi to meet him at their favorite cafe. Finally, he expressed his feelings for her, and Aoi, feeling the same, agreed to be his girlfriend. They officially became a couple and spent a lot of time together, going for walks and enjoying each other's company. Shinichiro also decided to give Daiki a chance by offering him a job at Tatsuya's workshop, where Shinichiro was now the manager. Daiki, needing a job, accepted the offer to make up for his past mistakes. Another day, while on a date with Aoi, Shinichiro shared about the plane crash that took his parents' lives 20 years ago. He still wondered why he was the only survivor. There, Aoi comforted him, saying maybe he survived so he could find happiness. That night, Shinichiro walked Aoi home, and she watched him leave with a sad expression on her face. The following day, while Shinichiro was on the train heading to work, he was startled to see many people with see-through bodies. When he passed a playground, he noticed even the children there appeared transparent. This worried him, thinking there might be a serious accident soon causing many casualties. Remembering a flyer about a previous playground event, Shinichiro suspected the accident might happen along the train route according to the schedule. Realizing Aoi would be on the same train to work, Shinichiro rushed to her house. Seeing Aoi's transparent hands, he hugged her tightly, not wanting to lose the woman he loved. Later that night, Aoi cried in her sleep, which surprised Shinichiro. However, she didn't explain why she was crying. To protect Aoi, Shinichiro decided to take her on a vacation to Okinawa. He even arranged with the kindergarten to reschedule their trip so Aoi wouldn't be on the train. Knowing this decision might cost him his life, Shinichiro went to see Takio, hoping for answers. But Takio refused to reveal anything, advising Shinichiro not to waste his life saving others who wouldn't even realize it. Still, Shinichiro believed his actions weren't useless because he saved the person he loved. After his talk with the doctor, Shinichiro went home and started writing a farewell letter to Aoi, realizing he might not be able to be with her much longer. Then, on the day of the kindergarten field trip, Shinichiro was shocked when Aoi messaged him saying she couldn't go to Okinawa because her replacement at work suddenly fell ill. Panicking, Shinichiro tried to find a way to keep Aoi from going to work. Meanwhile, police officers showed up at Shinichiro's house, prompted by a report from the kindergarten. At that time, Shinichiro tried to explain about the potential accident, but the police didn't listen. Feeling desperate, he decided to flee from the police and stop the accident that could take Aoi's life. Arriving at the station, Shinichiro saw Aoi boarding the train, so he hurried to the next stop. On the train, Aoi felt uneasy, clutching her chest in pain. Meanwhile, Shinichiro used a flare to clear people away from the tracks. With bravery, he went onto the tracks to halt the train Aoi was on from colliding with a mobile crane used by construction workers. In that moment, Shinichiro understood his purpose and was confident that he'd always choose to protect his loved ones from death's grasp. Seeing Shinichiro standing on the train tracks with a flare, Aoi quickly told the driver to stop the train. The sudden braking caused some passengers to stumble, while at the same time the ground under the crane collapsed. The crane narrowly missed falling onto the track behind Shinichiro. Luckily, the train stopped just in time, and everyone on board survived the scare. Soon after, Aoi left the train to reach Shinichiro, who had collapsed after sacrificing his life to save others. Realizing what had happened, she cried and embraced her lover, who had given his life for the safety of others. In a surprising turn, Aoi also had the Fortuna's Eye ability, just like Shinichiro. She believed he was her destined partner, especially since he had saved her from the factory explosion. Their paths had crossed before, as Shinichiro had helped Aoi survive a plane crash 20 years earlier. It seemed like fate had brought them together again, as lovers who would do anything to protect each other. When Aoi cried in front of Shinichiro, she could see his transparent body, showing the bond between them. Because she doesn't want to let Shinichiro die, Aoi decided to accept his fate and sacrifice many lives to save him, not realizing he would choose to sacrifice himself to protect everyone. Despite the tragedy, Aoi is grateful for her ability to meet Shinichiro through Fortuna's Eye. She promises to live well in his memory. In the end, Aoi cleans up Shinichiro's belongings and finds the last letter he wrote before sacrificing himself. She tearfully reads his words, especially touched by finding the ring he intended to give her. In her sorrow, Aoi wears the ring, remembering Shinichiro's sacrifices and the survivors of the train station incident. The film ends. The moral lesson from this film is remember, folks, if you've got a crush, don't go stopping trains or collapsing cranes just to impress them. And if they've got a magic eye, maybe bring them to an optometrist instead of a train station.